Ladies, do you feel frustrated and even mad about the fact that we can't fully embrace and celebrate our sexuality without getting called names, ruining our reputation, jeopardizing our safety? I know I'm mad about it, and I'm looking for solutions. So I met this amazing woman named Anetra Gaines, and she is rocking it. She doesn't care. She is living her life, and she's here to share some wisdom with us on how to release the fear, the shame, the guilt, whatever else it is that's stopping us from fully embracing and celebrating our sexuality so we can live life to manifest our wildest desires.
Welcome to the Goddess Power Show with Elizabeth Ann Atkins, the podcast exploring traditionally taboo topics as a portal to your power to live bigger, better, and bolder and manifest your heart's wildest desires.
So meet Anetra Gaines. Welcome, Anetra.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I'm happy to be here.
You exemplify the mission of the Goddess Power Show because it's all about living bigger, better, and bolder, fearlessly and fiercely. And you're doing that, Anetra. You are my role model, okay? You spin some wisdom that just blows my mind. You're living your best life. I admire you. I want to be like you, but there are things holding me back, and I want you to share your philosophies so that you can unleash my sexuality and that of other women. That's my mission here on the Goddess Power Show, Anetra, and you exemplify it. So please, let's talk. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Okay. So women's sexuality, you're here to demystify it. What do you think is the biggest mystery around it and why it blocks us so much for going for what we want?
The biggest thing for me in terms of why a lot of women don't go for what they want is because we've always been told that we should not go for what we want. Mm-hmm. We've always been made to feel ashamed of wanting what we want. You know, we have all these wonderful things that our bodies can do, and we're made to feel like, oh, well, if you do that, then you're this type of person. If you do that, then you're that type of person. Well, I mean, why can't I enjoy my sexuality the way a man would, you know, without the same stigma?
I hate that so much. It enrages me to no end, Anetra, that we have to tap dance around these topics and live a certain way out of fear of being called a hoe, of fear of having a reputation as a slut, fear of having our safety is a concern because women just have different safety concerns than men. And I deeply resent that men can just go swing it left, right, center, slam this, that, and the other all over Kingdom Come without the concerns for their safety, for their health. I don't know if they worry about it as much as we do. And their reputation, that's not even a thing. Their reputation is they'll be celebrated as a stud or a man about town where we'll be sex shamed, slut shamed, and all the above. It angers me so much. So how do we work around it? How do we just not care and do what we want?
Okay. So the secret is you're trying to figure out how to unlock that for yourself. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be different for everyone. So you find where your comfort level is and you work from the inside out. Mm-hmm. Like my comfort level is I don't care if people talk about me or call me a hoe or whatever, because one, I'm too old to care at this point. And two, you know, it doesn't change who I am.
Can you share with us why you just don't care and don't let other people's opinions and rules stop you from living your best life?
I think the first thing is I just got to a point or an age where I was like, I don't want to think about this all the time anymore, you know, and it just became so frustrating. So, you know how you talk about how mad you are? I don't get that same kind of angry. And here's the part that's crappy is like sometimes you're doing all this stuff to preserve yourself or not be this vision of what society deems to be a whole or loose or whatever. And now you're not even enjoying the sexual experience. And so it's like, what's the point? Because I'm not saying what I actually want, or, sometimes I was doing things that I didn't really want to do because it was just like, well, this is what I'm supposed to do. And so it wasn't even enjoyable for me at that point. But there was a click. I can't even tell you when it clicked. I don't know when that point came. It was just like one day I was just really fed up and I was like, well, these are the things that I like. So why not say this is what I like and just see what happens? And so it was one of those situations where you see what happens and it was like, oh, this is great. And here's the part that's I think is the other side of it, is that when you do say, there are some men in the world who appreciate that.
Yes. And
it's not wasting your time on the ones who think you should be some idealized version of a wholesome woman. Like, what does that even mean to be a wholesome woman? Yeah,
but it's there. It's there. We're taught that.
It is very much there. So over the years, if I meet somebody who looks down on me for what I like to do, and mind you, they're getting the enjoyment out of it as well. If they're looking down on me, that's not somebody I actually want to spend my time with anyway. So. Right.
So. Exactly. But what if you meet somebody you really like so many things about them and they're sex shaming you? Why do you want to wear that? Why do you want to put yourself out there like that in a sexual way? What do you say?
My question is, what are you scared of? Where does your insecurity, and why does your insecurity have to affect me? Because that's what it is. They're asking why can't you accept me for who I am? Why it doesn't bother you that much if you know I'm with you? And I'm pretty sure you're not walking around naked. So, you're wearing clothes that make you feel sexy, that make you feel good. And, and most women, they wear what makes them feel, they want to wear what makes them feel good. It's not so that they can be objectified, Why can't we? If I had a banging body and I wanted to wear something skin tight, okay.
I love it. So, Anetra, can you talk about the moment you said you just realized you don't care, you're going to do what you want, you're going to date who you want, have sex with who you want, and not let anybody influence you and stifle your freedom?
It is. I wish I could say it was just as simple as waking up and making that decision, but it takes a lot of work to get there because you have to work through people, and sometimes other women, telling you what you should and shouldn't do, or the message that you're sending to someone because you decided that you wanted to wear a skirt that was not below your knee, or a little up your thigh. You have to figure out how to not internalize that as this is who you are. That's something that they're not comfortable with. And I think that was the turning point for me when I realized that people who said these things to me, they're uncomfortable with whatever idea they have about sexuality. That had nothing to do with me. So instead of them dealing with their own issues, they were putting it on me. And I'm like, I've done my own issues to deal with. I don't want to deal with yours too.
I love it.
But I'm also a very stubborn person. So if you tell me I can't do something, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna go out of my way to make sure that I can do this.
Oh, I love it. I want to share that you're a therapist. So a lot of the things you say, yes, amazing. So you come to the table, you come to the conversation with the expertise of helping people work through their issues. And you've worked through yours, and that's why I think you're such an amazing role model. And part of your mission in our conversations is to demystify women's sexuality. Why is it a mystery, and what is there to demystify?
Well, because we don't talk about it. We don't talk about it in a healthy way. We talk about in a way that is designed to shame, a way that is designed to control, versus a way that's designed to empower and educate. When I was little, my dad was the one who told me and my siblings about the birds and the bees. He was never shy about talking about sex. He didn't want us to have, obviously, he didn't want us to have sex while we were in high school and all this other stuff, of course. Mm-hmm. But he also was very deliberate about letting us know sex is a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. But when you're kids, he put other caveats, like if it's with someone you love and all that stuff. But when I look back on it, and I really appreciate that message that my dad gave us, he didn't try to make it seem like it was dirty or anything like that. If we had a question, we were able to ask. I think that's also another reason that I am so comfortable with it, because it wasn't one of those things that we didn't talk about sex in our household like day in and day out, but it was one of those things where you didn't have to be afraid to talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it because usually it was tied with, hope you're not having sex so you don't get pregnant. Uh-huh. That's not a fun conversation. Mm-hmm. However, it was one of those, the door was always open to ask the questions. And I did that I do that with my kids. Mm-hmm. I ask the questions. They know that they can ask me about anything. Mm-hmm. And so if we don't talk about it in a way that is not shameful, people aren't getting educated, people aren't getting enjoyment, people are being made to feel that it's not something that they should enjoy, when really it's the opposite.
Yes, let's talk about that. Let's share 3 reasons why every woman needs to embrace her sexuality and get the pleasure that she desires and deserves.
3 reasons. Ooh, okay. 1, it's empowering. Mm-hmm. That's number 1. Uh-huh. Number 2, because it feels good.
Yes, hello.
Like, being with yourself should not be the only time that you feel good sexually. Mm-hmm. No, and the third reason. That's a good one. The third reason is the confidence of accepting yourself and accepting your needs and putting your needs above what society may say your needs are, or putting your needs above what maybe your partner is saying you should or should not do. And it's not saying like go into the bedroom all rogue or anything like that, but putting that priority, it means you discuss it. It comes on the table like, hey, I enjoy when you do this. This is not my favorite thing. Or guiding like, hey, this is a good spot. Things we don't often say, things that it's a little terrifying to say, because what's the person going to say? Especially if you happen to be with somebody who may be insecure or who may not be as confident in their own sexual ability. So many things play into it, and we end up taking in other people's problems all the time.
Yes, yeah, that is a problem. So, Anetra, can you talk about the fear of getting labeled a hoe or developing a reputation if you're in a certain social group, and if you date one person, then you can't date another person, or think you can't date another person because you'll get labeled as getting the pass around girl, or she's loose, or she's a slut, or whatever it is. How do you get over the fear and just go for what you want?
I don't even know if it's one of those things where you get over the fear itself, but you kind of push through it. Like it's my thinking is, if somebody's going to say something derogatory about you, it doesn't matter if you're there, if you're not there, if that's the type of person that they are, they're going to do that regardless. So at that point for me is, why do they get to have all of the power? Why do they get to create the narrative? If you want to talk about passing me around to whomever or somebody else I've been with, my response is, well, you don't have me now. Why? But it's those types of things that hold us hostage, things that are going to happen probably regardless of if we say something about it or if we don't.
So here's another example of that I go to the gym, and my rule has always been never date anybody at the gym, because if it doesn't work out, you're still going to see them at the gym. But that's where I meet people. That's where I get to know people. So it creates a dilemma where I want to potentially date someone from the gym, but then I'm like, no, there's that issue of if it doesn't work out, but then there's also, well, who are they going to tell at the gym? And I don't want people standing around chit-chatting about me. So what are your thoughts about that?
My thoughts were, I wish everyone was adult enough to kind of respect privacy and respect boundaries. I wish that was the case, but if it's not, if that's where you go and you meet someone, when you meet someone, it's usually with the intentions of having a good time, making a connection. And why do you have to cut yourself off from all of that? Because they may not be able to handle the breakup. So, I mean, or however it ends, you know. So what do? You kind of have to walk in with your head held high still. You still maybe put a little extra sachet in it. I don't know.
But I like how you've said, don't let someone else write the narrative around that. Why do they get the power to control what you do based on this fear of being talked about or labeled?
I mean, and listen, we're adults, right?
Yeah.
We can have consensual relations with whomever we want to have consensual relations. The person who is spreading all of your business in a malicious way, that says more about them than it will ever say about you. And to call somebody a name to make yourself feel better about whatever you're lacking or whatever it is that you did. It's like, I feel sorry for you in that respect, that you couldn't find another way to express your emotions than to try to be disrespectful to me. And so one of the biggest things is remembering who you are. Just because someone calls you something doesn't mean that you are that.
Wow. So sex shaming and slut shaming are a real thing, and they can affect a woman's career.
Yeah.
Especially if she's in a high profile position. They can affect a woman's relationships. They can affect a woman's self-esteem.
Yeah.
And especially if it's taken onto social media, which is called revenge porn. That's a whole other level of it.
Yeah.
But I know it's there. It's there.
It's
and
there.
It's terrifying.
And it's so awful. It's so awful. Of course, you have to do things to protect yourself. Of course, you know, you have to be mindful of who you are allowing into your space. You know, if your gut says don't trust this person, go with that. You know, sometimes our guts know way before we do. Our intuition, it's real. Sometimes it knows before we do. So if you're thinking about this and it doesn't feel right, maybe take that step back. There's something going, don't. Danger.
Oh, wow. Yes. So trust your intuition. I know I trust my intuition, and it's always right. It's not always what I want to hear.
I know, that's the thing, and that's where we get into trouble. It's like,
yeah,
I know my intuition is saying don't, but
right, it does. Wow, that's, everybody hear that? Your intuition, your inner voice, that it's very easy to ignore, especially when your body is saying one thing of what you want, and you're tempted, and your intuition is saying, oh no, do not go there. Because
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, please.
Well, and the other thing too is like intuition sometimes get mixed in with experiences that you've had. So it's trying to balance what part is intuition and what part is, this was a bad experience that I had that I don't want to experience again. So I'm not going to open up for trust. So maybe some middle ground in there is, if you're feeling comfortable enough to go out and getting a better feel for the person versus, going straight for the sex, if you are not 100% sure of what they are like.
Wow, that's powerful. That's really powerful. So don't just dive into something just because it looks and feels good. Just take it slow.
It depends on the situation. There are some situations that are good for diving in, and then there are some you might have to test the water a little bit.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There's no one hard and fast rule. You really have to gauge, where are you comfortable? Not trying to do things because, like, even trying to change your own habits. You have to figure out, where are you comfortable? Mm-hmm. Maybe you don't change your habits all at once. Maybe there's one thing you modify, if that's something you're trying to do, and slowly build that type of sexual confidence. It doesn't have to be an overnight process. It takes some time to get there, you know.
Anetra, when you say sexual confidence, what do you mean?
Oh, everything. Being confident in walking around naked, being confident in expressing what your needs are, being confident in being the person who is the assertive one, you know. So, and being confident in understanding that everybody's not going to be on the same level that you're on, or have the same understanding that you have. And that can be intimidating, and that can cause some people to be malicious. Just because, again, what's the theme here? Taking on somebody else's problem. They have an issue, they don't want to deal with it, so they want to put it on you.
Wow, that is so fascinating. So what are some other things that you've had as sort of a mind shift to just not care? I just can't get enough of this.
Well,
school us.
I will say I care. I do care, but the level of care that I have is not nearly as high as it used to be. It's I know how to manage it now versus, well, I guess I shouldn't do that because so and so may think this, or, you know, I had someone tell one of my friends that if they had sex with them, they wouldn't be wifey material. I'm like, which the statement in and of itself makes absolutely no sense, because the person wants to have sex with her, but then wants to also degrade her at the same time.
Degrade her, yes. And she probably, depending on where her mindset is, she probably bought into that.
Oh, no, the sex never happened.
Oh, she didn't. Okay, because she didn't buy into that.
No, absolutely not.
Good for her.
So,
good for her.
Like, how you don't have put both things on the table, but then whatever is chosen, I don't win. So.
Oh, wow.
So, but it's that type of thinking that happens in people who are not the most secure. You know, so there's so many things that go on, and I used to think that people were just being mean or whatever, but a lot of it is they're putting on the front, you know, and a lot of it is there's some embarrassment behind whatever has happened, you know, or them feeling like they need to prove they have this virtuous woman. And some of it is just the messaging that they've received. People, women, men, everybody has received since they were children, and they haven't opened their minds to see the possibilities that maybe there is a different path. If you don't want to be on the path, that's absolutely fine. You don't have to be. Nothing is mandatory. So
right. So for women who have been socialized, and we all have, but some more extreme than others, through their religion, their family, their culture, to say sex is bad, and so they think that sex is bad to the point that they can't even orgasm by themselves because they've been shamed to self-pleasure, that's just absolutely not allowed, or that they can't orgasm with a partner because they feel that sex is dirty or bad. Do you recommend that they get help from a therapist to work through and unravel all that guilt and shame?
Absolutely. There are sex therapists out there who can help with that. And, you know, I know people hear sex therapy and they immediately think it's about helping people perform sexually. You know, some people think that. But really, it's about this healing. Healing from sexual trauma, healing from trauma caused by religious beliefs or anything, or just trying to become more comfortable with themselves. You know, it's a very broad spectrum in what you can get from going to a sex therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some therapists who don't mind talking about sex, but sex therapists, like I don't mind talking about it or discussing it or trying to empower women if that's something they decide that they want to tackle in therapy.
Mm-hmm.
But I am not a sex therapist at this time. Future endeavor.
Yes, you'll be amazing.
Oh, thank you. But there are sex therapists out there who can help with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It makes me so angry when I hear about women who are so stifled due to this conditioning that they can't enjoy the joy and the pleasure of their own bodies, because the pleasure that I enjoy is mind-blowing. And I'm like, wow, my body can do that. My body. Yes. Okay. But my mind is free to allow my body to enjoy what I enjoy the way I want to. And it's such a gift. And I want all women to be able to enjoy it. It's incredible. And studies show the power of pleasure in terms of orgasm boosting your immunity, makes your skin glow. It makes your mood better for sure.
Yeah.
It can
sleep
help
better.
you sleep. Yes. There's so many benefits to it. And it's like, we should all be reaping those benefits. We want to feel and look our best. And that pleasure from within is just, it's medicine. It's powerful. Yeah.
Agree,
So
100%.
yes, that's why I love you so much, because you are sharing this wisdom fearlessly, fiercely, and helping other women open their minds and their lives to experience life the way we want, the way we desire. We deserve it.
I agree. Here. We do. We do. And for all that a woman's body can do, all the beautiful, miraculous things that a woman's body can do, we deserve to celebrate ourselves. We deserve to experience that type of pleasure, and it is a journey, and it's a very personal journey. What sexual freedom looks like for me may not look the same for another woman. And it's important to respect that as well. Everybody has their own definition of what sexual freedom means for them. But it's honoring that and taking your time to get to know yourself and understand what the motivation is or why you feel the way that you feel.
I love that. Can you tell me what's on the other side of fear and shame for women who are too scared right now to actually live out their desires? What's on the other side of that?
Pleasure, gratification, confidence in empowerment. Those are my two. Confidence and empowerment. Out of even above the pleasurable feeling, confidence and empowerment, because that translates into other sections of your life.
So, Anetra, if you go to the homepage of thegoddesspowershow.com, my website that goes with this podcast, I write about how when we unleash our sexual power as women, our pleasure, our unabashed pursuit of it and celebration of it, it boosts our confidence in every area of our life. You walk differently, you talk differently, you live differently. And because it's like that last taboo inside of us.
Yes.
And so I love it. That's why I started the Goddess Power Show, to live bigger, better, bolder through your pleasure and through power in your life in general and other areas. But I believe that most intimate part of ourselves, when we unleash it, we are infinite.
Agreed, 100%. I'm glad you started the show. It's necessary. It is so necessary.
It is so necessary, and that's why I'm so grateful that you're here today to help inspire other women to open their minds, and especially older women who've been more deeply conditioned, because younger women are a little more free.
They are. And it's a beautiful thing for those women, and And it's my hope is that women who have been conditioned otherwise, who are uncomfortable with it for whatever reason, or just don't want it. It's okay not to want it. They just don't want it, to not shame other women or not try to make women feel like they shouldn't be doing it because they don't do it, you know. And so it's just the respect.
Yeah. No, I respect a woman's morals wherever she is, but I'm saying for those who do want to break out of the fear, shame, guilt, and all that, there's a way to do it. And you're here to help us explore the mindset shift required for that.
Yeah. Yep. And the first thing is like listening to yourself and understanding what it is that you want for yourself. That's probably the first thing, is understanding what does sexual freedom look like to you? What does that mean to you? You know?
What does sexual freedom look like to you? Ladies, if you're watching this right now or listening, take out a pen and a notebook, or go on your laptop and journal about that. Ask yourself that question. What does sexual freedom look like for you? What does it feel like? How will you feel excited, liberated, and satisfied, fulfilled if you actually go for what you want in terms of your sexuality and your pleasure? Anetra, great question. I'm gonna journal about that today some more, because that's powerful. Yeah.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Anetra, I think you're amazing. I'm so grateful that you joined me here on the Goddess Power Show today.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I think that you are just such an inspiration. So thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, Anetra, is there a way people can get in touch with you?
If they go to Psychology Today, Anetra Gaines, they can look me up there.
Okay.
And they can get in touch with me through that.
Okay. Psychologytoday.com and look up Anetra Gaines.
Anetra Gaines. Yes.
All right. I can put the link here wherever you're listening or watching. I'll put the link in there so you can contact her if you have any questions or want to talk to her. So thank you, Anetra Gaines. You're amazing. And you've been phenomenal here on the Goddess Power Show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So, is the Goddess Power Show with Elizabeth Ann Atkins inspiring you to live bigger, better and bolder and manifest your heart's desires? Then please subscribe, rate, review and share the podcast to help more women experience these life-shifting ideas. You can also watch the Goddess Power Show with Elizabeth Ann Atkins on YouTube. You'll find the link at thegoddesspowershow.com. While you're on the website, read the blog and see how Elizabeth's retreats, guided meditations and erotic writing courses can help you activate your female superpowers and make magic happen in your life. Enjoy her sexy novels and don't miss her latest book, The Biss Tribe, Activating Your Goddess Power by Elizabeth Ann Atkins. Find it all at thegoddesspowershow.com to rock your realm from a throne of power, wearing a crown of confidence to manifest your heart's greatest desires. Remember, Goddess, you have the power.